Hey guys, so here's a video for our Sport in Japan playlist. This was actually New Year's Day. We didn't get a chance to talk about this earlier because of the earthquake and everything else that happened around that time. So every year on New Year's Day there's this relay marathon and it goes for about 5 hours and it sort of dominates the television all New Year's Day. And New Year's Day everybody's sitting around having lunch, so usually this is going on in the corner. So every year we watch this race. Just as a matter of interest, on the second day of January they have another marathon relay that is the university students. But this one on the 1st of January, on New Year's Day itself, is company teams. So you'll see there on the right there's Toyota and Honda and NTT is the big phone company, and there's big internet companies, and there's all sorts of big companies have these teams that compete in this relay marathon. So because it's on every year we go to the in-laws place, and every year the TV's going in the corner. This year, of course, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, television was interrupted by the earthquake, but first we have 5 hours of this marathon going on in the corner, and people are sort of interested in it. And of course it's a big thing. You can see all the people there in orange. The companies must spend a lot of money sponsoring this thing, and then they get root because it gets big exposure on television. So big exposure for the companies. So they pour lots of money into it. Now years ago, I don't know how long ago, 10, 15 years ago, this thing was on, and we noticed that there was a guy running who didn't look very Japanese. He was a really tall guy with long legs who was running really fast, right? And we noticed that that guy doesn't look Japanese at all. And then later he was interviewed and he had a translator, right? And we go, okay, so this guy's from somewhere else, and he's here working for one of these Japanese companies, maybe, and now he's in the relay, right? And that was years and years ago. Now this year, slowly every year, you'd notice that there's all these guys that are running that don't look at all Japanese, and then they'd have translators at the end when they're interviewed. And more and more and more and more. And then this year it really stood out. It really stood out when we were watching it. It was like, right. And usually the leaders in each leg were guys that were clearly not Japanese. Now, wait a moment, that lad doesn't look Japanese, you know? And then sure enough, he'd be interviewed after he ran his leg, and he'd have a translator there translating for him. So it left us, we had a little bit of discussion about this, and maybe a person who was applying for a job at Toyota or Honda or NTT or one of these big companies, they were in another country trying to get into Japan and trying to get a work visa and try to work for one of these big companies. It might be worth putting on your resume that you can run really fast for really long distances and you have extensive experience running in marathons, because that sort of thing might just get you a job with one of these companies. We don't know this for sure, right? This is just our having a bit of a giggle about it. It's like, look at these companies, you know, suddenly these guys have employed all these guys that clearly aren't Japanese, that can run really, really fast. Oh, I love this guy too. Love this guy. All the Japanese guys are sitting there, standing there with their little cute little doll things. They're all symbols of different companies or places, prefectures. And look at the guy in the middle there. He'll do it, but he'll do it with the thing upside down, holding its head. Anyway, that was that. More videos coming soon.